taxation. No donation, no salvation.
And remember, respect is everything.
Hello everyone, we're back, and I decided to do something a little different. We're going to cover something a little different. I wanted to take a break from the LEGO Transformers stuff just for now. I'm not, before anyone worries, I'm not burnt out. I'm not, I'm not done with the whole, LEGO Transformers thing. I'm just taking a break from it because the whole reason I made this channel was to cover things of my general interest. So hopefully, you guys will enjoy this stuff as much as the other stuff. I kind of wanted to make this channel an all-in-one for me personally and just see what, have a little bit of everything for everyone. So today we're going to look at this, what used to be the LEGO set 42111 set, the Fast and Furious Charger, which if you're wondering what that looks like, here's what it used to look like before I made my changes to it. Now, I've already talked about this set before. I basically made a whole video where I turned this from a 70 Charger to a 1969 Dodge Charger with a few simple little modifications I made. But after a while, I got kind of bored with that and decided, let's add something more to this. So, I recently got a hold of a Dune Buggy set, which had motors in it, as well as some other parts that seemed to prove useful. What I didn't know is that it doesn't use the same parts as what's it called? The original LEGO Technic motors. You see, the motors that came in that set were Bluetooth motors, which use a different box altogether. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to add things like headlights or the other motors that I had lying around. So I had to work with basically what was in the kit. So anyway, let's take a good look at the car and we'll go from there. Now, this particular Dodge Charger, as you can see, is based off of the car from the movie Death Proof. Now, if you're not familiar with that film, I mean, I'm not surprised. It wasn't one of Quentin Tarantino's best films, but I'll give you a basic rundown. Basically, Death Proof is a movie about a homicidal stuntman who stages car accidents and murders women. And according to the film, he does it for, I guess, pleasure. As in, he gets off to it. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I just watched the movie for the cars, even though a lot of that movie was just mindless ranting and dialogue and a number of other, disasters. But like I said, it was not one of Tarantino's best films. Literally, the best scenes are usually the first car crash and the second and final chase, which features this particular car right here. Unfortunately, like the other car, it was destroyed. Unfortunately, and if you know me, I love vintage and old school muscle cars, and seeing Hollywood destroy them like they're worth nothing, it's pretty hard to watch. I mean, it looks cool, but the reality behind it is quite tragic because these cars aren't built anymore, and it's just a shame to see them get destroyed the way they do in films. But such is life. Now, before we look at this LEGO model, I wanted to show off some other models I had lying around that I built of this car. In the beginning of the movie, the first car he drove was a black, or I think it was a gray Chevy Nova. It was either black or gray. It was like a matte color, but according to the Hoonigan team, who got in contact with the original owner of the car, or supposedly was owned by his father, who was, I think, one of the stunt drivers. I don't remember exactly. I don't know if that's correct or not. Please do not quote me on this. But basically, the original first car they used was a 1970 Chevy Nova, and that was the first car they wrecked. in the first car crash scene. The only difference between that car and the Charger was that the Nova had a skull and cross lightning bolts on the hood instead of crossbones, which was cool. Now, one prominent feature that was on both cars was a signature duck hood ornament, which was also featured in the 1978 film Convoy. Now, I happen to own a replica of one of those hood ornaments. Here's my personal one. I mounted it to a magnet because this is not an actual hood ornament. This is a plastic hood ornament that was 3D printed. The real hood ornaments are like 130 something bucks plus shipping, at least right now. Who knows if their value will skyrocket in the future. So for safety purposes, I mounted it to this magnet so I can remove it so it doesn't sit in the sun or get, deteriorated by weather, and knowing how these 3D plastics are. I did paint it a little bit. I painted the cigar and his red eyes, but it came black, and then I just mounted it to this magnet that my dad had lying around, and I just screwed it in, and so occasionally whenever I do drive the car, I'll mount this to the front of it just for fun, just because it looks kind of hilarious. But yes, this is the hood ornament that was featured in that film. The only difference is that the one that he had on his car was chrome, and was completely chrome, and was made of metal. This is clearly just a plastic 3D printed ornament. But yes, he had a chrome version of this ornament, but it was pretty much identical. There is an identical version that comes in black with the red eyes and the painted cigar, but I mean, obviously if you're building a replica of the actual car, you want the chrome one. Now, speaking of the Charger, I did make a model of that too. So here is that. Which was also featured in a matte black paint job, or they said it was gray. I'm going to say it was matte black, even though in reality the cars were all vinyl wrapped. At least the Chevy Nova was. But yes, this is a 69 Charger that I built based on the Death Proof Charger. It's missing the duck hood ornament, so I kind of had to just improvise. I just glued a little nub on the front. And then yeah, my model building skills are not great, but I mean, it's as best as I could get it. It was already it came molded in black, so I didn't have to paint it. I just kind of scuffed it up and sanded it a bit and made it look all crappy. So there's that. Now that we've looked, another car that was also featured in that film. I'm sorry, I'm delaying showing this off. But I want to. Another car that was featured in that film, which was also unfortunately ruined, was a really nice white 1970 Dodge Challenger. Now, for those who don't know, the Dodge Challenger from 1970 is my absolute dream car. And seeing it get destroyed the way it was in that film was heartbreaking. It was bad. And yes, it is based on the same Challenger that was featured in the film Vanishing Point. However, the only difference between that car and the Vanishing Point car is that the Challenger from Vanishing Point, it had these kind of like bumper guards on the front, which I always called bumper teeth for some reason, just because they kind of look like tusk. But in reality, they're called bumper guards. And it's funny how a lot of people say they never liked them, because they look kind of weird. I always thought they looked kind of cool because they kind of look like tusk, and makes the car look really mean and gives it kind of an aggressive personality, or at least look-wise. Yes, here's a model of that. This is just a Vanishing Point model, but since it was literally the same car, it didn't really bother me too much to just use this. This one is actually die-cast, so it actually is metal, but it is a model kit. You do have to put it together. But it rolls, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, I kind of had a mishap when I was painting the grill, and I accidentally painted over the logo, the Challenger RT logo. So that's unfortunate. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's actually look at the actual Lego model now. I had to use what was available in the Dune Buggy off-road buggy kit. I don't remember the number, but it was basically a pink and blue off-road RC buggy. However, there was only one problem I had with that set, and it's the fact that it didn't come with an RC controller. Instead, it came with a Bluetooth box. Now, because I had to do a lot of heavy modification to this particular car to make it look like the death-proof Charger, I had to remove the supercharger in the front and replace it with an actual just regular engine of sorts. This is not accurate at all to a 69 Charger. This is just how I have it assembled for the steering assembly, because I had to modify a lot of the internals of this vehicle to include the motors. So there's the motor for the rear differential, which thankfully I didn't have to do much to get that to work. I did have to remove a lot of pieces to get this to work. So the wheelie bar is gone, the stick shifter is gone, but I'm still working on the interior stuff. So yeah, both motors are hooked up here so that the car can have its RC functions. Before anyone asks, no, I'm not going to do any instructions or demonstrate how to do it, because the time and effort it took me to get this to work was unbearable, and I really don't want to have to go through that entire mess again. But it's not that hard to motorize this kit. You just have to take apart a lot of things, and it's annoying, but it can be done. So anyway, here, and let's look at the back of the car. So not much of the actual cosmetics were changed when it comes to this car, just mostly the back. Now, as you can see here, there's this big gray box here where the trunk used to be. That is the Bluetooth electronics box. I don't know the actual name for it. Also, that license plate is not correct. That is from the Fast and Furious kit, but I didn't really feel like printing a sticker for the other Charger license plate from the Death Proof film, so I just left it as is. But anyway, let's go ahead and move the camera a bit so we can get a better angle of these things. Now back here, this is where the controller box is, so you can put your batteries in it and do whatever you got to do. Now, I had to modify the rear of the car quite heavily so I could make the batteries easily swappable. So what we're going to do is I'm going to demonstrate how I did that. Also, if you saw my other video featuring this car, I still left a lot of the cosmetic modifications I did, such as the new grille and bumper and stuff. I did leave the headlights in place because if I took them off, it was just nothingness and it didn't look right. Plus, it technically isn't inaccurate to the car, or at least the actual car, but in terms of the movie car, you never saw the headlights. Because the 69 Dodge Charger had hideaway headlights, as in the grille would rotate above them and cover them, giving it a very nice clean look. And then at night, when you would turn the headlights on, they would fold open and it would show the headlights. Hence the term hideaway headlights. Anyway, so we'll take one more good look at the car before we put the batteries in it and demonstrate the RC functions. Alright. I also was able to leave some of the interior intact, so the door's still open. Can't really see a lot of what's in there because a lot of it's black and gray and it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, the shifter is gone because I had to make room for the secondary RC motor, which here, let me open the other door so we can take a good look at that other motor. I also left the nitrous tank because I don't know, I just thought it was hilarious to have it, or I think it's a nitrous, it's probably in a fire extinguisher, but we're going to pretend it's a nitrous tank. But as you can see, there's the other motor. It came with two of the same motors in that buggy set, so I decided to just use both of them. I'm having a hard time being able to see it. I'm sorry if the video is kind of blurry. I have autofocus turned off because I've had some problems with it in the past. But other than that, I mean, there's the interior. I did leave the roll cage because technically that is accurate to the other car as well. Speaking of which, there's the makeshift auto shifter. Yeah, it's way too far back and it doesn't do anything. But anyway, let's get to the important stuff. Let's get to the RC functions. Now, what we're gonna do is, because of how I have this set up, I had to pretty much block out the rear suspension because the battery pack is really heavy. So the rear suspension does not work, sadly, or at least it's still there. It just, I blocked it off because it was sagging too much in the back and it looked really bad. So we're going to remove this panel, which I refer to as the gas tank, and then we can turn these exhaust pipes to the side. Then we can finally access our battery compartment. Okay, so this is going to require 6 AA batteries, which, yeah, I know, AA batteries, that's, it's irritating, but, I mean, technically it'll last longer than a rechargeable battery because, you know, the lifespan of AA's and such. As long as you don't leave them in, you know, these little things will last a lot longer. Because when you leave batteries in any kind of electronic toy or device, they tend to leak. So if you're not using something for a very long time, please remove the batteries, because the last thing you want is to damage your product, especially something as expensive as this. So let's go ahead and place our battery pack back in there. Next, let's grab our cover. Now, I would have just left it like this, so that the, oh, that didn't go in right. Okay. Grab this, plug it back in. I would have left it like this. The problem is, this panel, it doesn't connect to anything else other than the sides of the car, so I couldn't really do anything to fix that. So that's part of why we require this gas tank piece. So let's go ahead and plug that back in. And grab this one. Try to get that plugged back in. There we go. Now, we need one other thing. Is a smartphone. Now, for this vehicle, I didn't use the app that they recommend for the buggy. I used a different app called, I think it's Powered Up, which requires you to actually code the car to get it to function correctly. So, here, let's put this all the way back here. I was going to unplug my phone. I had to charge it for this video. Don't mind a real Winterman. She's just hanging out in the back. So there's our Powered Up app. Now, because of the nature of this app, you do have to program it to work with the RC functions. I just labeled it as RC car. You probably can't read that because the brightness is probably driving my camera insane. Next, we need to pair it with the device. So, what we're going to do, we're going to need some height on this. So here, what we're going to do, we're going to push this button, and it should automatically pair it. There we go. There we go. Now, one of the issues I had when I was first putting this together was getting it to steer correctly. You see, what happened was, and I didn't know this, when you build your model, you need to make sure it finds an end point in the steering so that it creates friction and pushes it back. So that way, you'll be able to find your end points for the steering. So now that we got all that working, let's go ahead and drive the car a little bit. So yeah, pretty basic RC functions. It's not fast by any means, but it gets the job done. And I really wouldn't want this to be that fast anyway, considering the The last thing I need is my Lego car crashing at 100 miles an hour and shattering to pieces like an actual vehicle. But yeah, that's pretty much how that works. If you want the code and all that, I mean, there it is. So if you want to take a good look at how that's all set up, there you go. If you want to try and code this yourself, if you have this set with the parts necessary. Oop. Didn't mean to do that. So let's go back to the... yeah, it's readjusting. Sometimes the steering tends to get stuck. Actually, I think I may have misaligned it. So yeah, that's gonna happen. It sometimes it won't align correctly. So it is what it is. So there it is. I guess we could show it driving on the floor. So here, let's show that off real quick. Uh-oh. That's not good. I think I just broke something off. Alright, well, you've seen what you needed to see. Let's go ahead and turn all this off. So close that. Turn off my Bluetooth. I don't like to leave that on. Put my settings back on quick. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, this is, like I said, I didn't want this thing to be super... Oh, I'm still missing a piece. Okay, we found our piece. So yeah, like I said, I didn't want the thing to be super fast because of reasons like that. Because last thing I need is this thing flying to pieces like an actual car, which is never a good thing. You don't want that because that's how disasters happen. Let's go ahead and repair this. Come on. Get out of there. There you go. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not much else to say on this car. I'm pretty much giving you as much of a history lesson on the film Death Proof as much as I possibly could. So, is what it is. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and again, I thank you all for watching, and hopefully the next video won't be as stupidly long, although I'm probably going to edit the crap out of this as soon as I'm done. One of the benefits of leaving this hood accessible is I can mess with the steering like this and fix it if I need to. So yep, there's the charger. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Hallelujah! Another soul saved!